Lord, let's try it like this. Okay, I think I can actually do it this way. Let's actually make sure that is clean as much as possible. That thing is actually scratched. So, hey guys, Western Caves here. I had to go to my woods to find another place. Yeah. So that tells you how much I am struggling. I mean, I'm sure I could find lots of places back here, but you don't want to hear me talking about all these different places. You want to hear about Portland, because that's what it says on the paper. Because I made notes today. Even though it's not like there was really a lot going on in the race. Santino Ferrucci first pole on a purpose-built road course in AJ Foyt Racing in history. Yes. Believe it or not, in entirety of history, I went back and looked at every single results for Foyt. I was looking for Ziggy Snyder too, and for all the stuff pre-split. By pre-split, I mean the first split, the one in the late 70s, the USAC kart split, not the kart IndyCar split. But I looked for all the Gilmore racing and even Ansted by the time Ansted Thompson, and I couldn't find anything from 65 or later, and I knew I didn't have to look for 64 or earlier because there were no purpose-built road courses on the IndyCar schedule then. So yeah, or at least none in the USAC era, which is when Foyt started driving. So yeah, nothing for Foyt. The only road courses, Sato had a couple of poles on street courses. It's the first pole on a purpose-built course that's got at least one right turn since Foyt won the pole at Trenton in 78. Yeah, Trenton. Remember Trenton, that kidney bean-shaped track? If you just want to know when the last time they did it on a purpose-built course, Billy Boat 1999. Pikes Peak 2. And then like 6 times in 98. So yeah, it's been like 25 years. It's been like 10 years since the last Foyt pole period. And Ferrucci didn't even lead the first turn because Will Power took the lead and led pretty much the whole race. He led 101 laps. The only laps he didn't lead were when he pit. And those lap breakdowns were Herta led 4 laps, Plo led 3 laps, Newgarden and Marcus Armstrong somehow led a lap each. And that's it. Oh yeah. Probably wondering, how did Dixon do? He finished last. He didn't complete a lap. He got sent off a little bit by Kirkwood, and he got shuffled back, and then Fittipaldi did a Fittipaldi thing, I guess, and he cut the corner right as they go onto the back stretch. Not really cut it, but he got slightly airborne on the curbings, and hit Dixon a little bit because he couldn't really control his car, and he sent Dixon off. And Dixon suffered his second opening lap exit in an IndyCar race in his 399 race career, and his first since twin ring Motegi in 2005. He's doing things he hasn't done in 19 years, and he only ever did in Japan. Yeah, that was the only I think caution of the entire race was the waving on lap 1. Although we had another incident involving Romain Grosjean. I mean, we had a few people like Rasmussen overcooked it in the final corner. Had to go around onto the start of the drag strip. We had a few people blowing the chicane, and they had to go. They either got penalized because they improperly cut the chicane, or did the proper sort of weaving through the chicane that, slows them down as the self-penalizing thing. Yeah. Somebody got Herta stalled it on pit lane, and I guess somehow was able to use his anti-stall, because the hybrid allows you to do that, but you're not supposed to do it in pit lane, so he gained a couple seconds that way, because the guy who had the restarter thing didn't quite get it in there. So IndyCar just had him just drop back a spot on track, and by a spot behind the lap car of Fittipaldi, which meant Marcus Armstrong was chasing him for the rest of the race. He was right behind and couldn't pass him, so Herta held on. But the other big thing was Romain Grosjean being another weapon in the chicane. He spun, and yeah, they didn't bring out the yellow. They didn't bring out the yellow when he spun around to rejoin the race and get right back in the racing line, right in front of Christian Rasmussen, damaging Rasmussen's number 20. And that sent Grosjean, and then he cut back across the track to get on the racing line and nearly took out Toby Sowery. He actually got penalized for unsafe conduct, which is a penalty I've never seen. Unsafe conduct. Can you believe? I mean, yes, I can believe that. It is Romain Grosjean, and he has been proven to be a weapon. And the thing is, Hugo Hollinger Racing actually benefited from that whole incident, because it sent Rasmussen back, and that allowed Daly to gain ground in the leader circle chase, and now they're tied. Although it does show, in my leader circle battle, it does show Rasmussen as ahead of Daly on countback, or I should say the 20 ahead of the 78, because as we know, for most of the rest of the year, it's been Augustine Canapino in the 78, just like for a couple of the ovals that have been so far. And the last 3 races of the season, it's Ed Carpenter and not Rasmussen in a 20. Well, let's go through the rest of the finishing results real quick. Power wins. Palou about 10 seconds back. This was, I should mention, Palou was close a couple times to getting the lead, but he had 2 stops in a row where he lost 2 seconds just in the box, a sluggish stop. And the Willpower crew, of course, is such a good pit crew. I don't even know what his win total is at, but it's pretty good. Palou second. But that was good for Palou in his championship hunt. Goodness, this would have been a close race if it wasn't for last week and Newgarden shenanigans causing Power to get sent out of the race. I mean, I'm not blaming Newgarden, but I'm saying if Newgarden had done that restart the way he ended up doing what it was ultimately the final restart of the race, if he had done that for the restart that Power got pummeled on, Power would still be in the race. Power would still be in the race, and we would have gotten, like, let's just say 20 points. Keep that in mind when I go through the points. Yeah, Newgarden, speaking of which, was third. Herta fourth, Armstrong fifth. Yeah, the only people that finished in the top 5. But Newgarden was 23 seconds back of Power. Herta was 37 back. Armstrong was 38 back. And the other 11 drivers who finished in the top 10 were somewhere between 40 and about 60 seconds back. From Marcus Ericsson, 6th place. It was a solid run. I think he started like around 19th or something like that. Scotty Mack 7th. Ferrucci, decent week for him. Not quite the result I think he really wanted, but I think he'll be happy with an 8th place, especially since he got a pole. Graham Rahal. Shout out to Graham Rahal. It was actually a good weekend for the Rahal crew. All 4 cars seem to have a bit of pace, even if Fittipaldi did Fittipaldi things. Rahal, highest of the Rahal guys, finished 9th, and Kyle Kirkwood 10th. Then Rinus VeeKay 11th, Rossi 12th, Lundgaard 13th, Rosenqvist 14th, Pato O'Ward 15th, and yeah, Kiffin Simpson managed to finish 16th on the lead lap. Okay, that's weird. I shouldn't say too weird, but there's some good people who didn't finish. Toby Sowery, first driver a lap down. He's had some solid. I'd like to see him get something next year, even if it's just more part-time, because he's definitely been one of the better drivers that has been in a coin car. Yeah, he got 17 for coin. Why didn't I just make that a bigger deal? He got 17 for coin, and he was the first driver a lap down, that's pretty good. He finished ahead of 11 drivers, one of which was another coin car, but he still beat 10 non-coin cars, and that's always cool to see coin cars doing pretty good. Stingray was 18th. 19th was Yuri Vips. Yeah, Yuri Vips was in this race. Remember how I said there was four Ray Hall cars? Yeah, I should mention Ray Hall brought out a 4th car. They brought out the 75 for Estonian driver Yuri Vips, who's been in kind of like he's been kind of the driver coach this year. And yeah, and he decided to throw him in a car, and he got 19th. It was pretty good. Pretty good run. David Malukas, little Dave, 20th. Yeah. Yeah, it was not a good weekend in qualifying for Meyershank Racing. Like, they always seem to be both in the Fast 6, and then they weren't even in the Fast 2nd round this week, so it's like, oh, Lord. I thought they were going to completely fall apart. No, they were respectable. Siegel, 21st. He was all right. Connor Daly, 22nd. What did I mention? He gained 3 points on Rasmussen. Linus Lundqvist, 23rd. Not a good year, not a great year for him. So he's got a pole and 2 podiums. Jack Harvey, 24th. I mean, I like the guy, but he's been the weakest link. He has been easily the weakest link at Coyne. And we will see when we get to the leader circle battle. Fittipaldi, 25th. He was there. Christian Rasmussen finished 2 laps down because of Grosjean, but at least he wasn't Grosjean, who finished 3 laps down in 22nd. He would be last if it wasn't for the extra car. Instead, last place is Scott Dixon, who finished 110 laps down. He didn't complete a single lap, like I said. All right, points. Yeah, let me hurry up. Points. Plo, 484 points. Power is 54 back. Yeah. What I'm saying is, Plo could skip the first Milwaukee race and still be at worst tied for the points lead heading into the second Milwaukee race. He's getting a max of 54 points. Plo could actually, I think, clinch the title by if Power finishes 25th or worse and doesn't lead a lap or get a pole on Milwaukee at Saturday. Plo wins from pole and leads the most laps, then all Plo has to do is start the last 2 races of the year, and he's your champion. That's a really weird. If Plo skips a race, Power is still in it. Power would still be in it, I think. Well, I'm saying, ignore that. 54, I'm just trying to say. Power is technically within a race, but not really. Consider 49 to be within a race. Always assume that your driver gets minimum points, but does get points for starting, and the other driver gets max points. But mathematically, Power would still be in title contention. It helps that if it comes down the count back, Power is probably going to win the title because he just got his 3rd win this week, and Plo's still only at 2. And since Power is behind, the most likely a scenario in which they're going to tie is going to see Power winning more races and not Plo winning more races. So Power is not in a horrible spot. He'd be even better if he got another like 20 points or something. Get another 20 or 30 from Gateway. He'd be in a great spot. Because this is going to be really, I think it's going to be between, although Herta is 67 points back, so he's not too bad. McLaughlin is 88 points back, but that might be a little bridge too far. Dixon at 101 back, I would say, is probably out. He's in the I have to gain ground at Plo at the next Milwaukee race, or I'm eliminated from the title. Also in that scenario, Award, 124 back. Newgarden, 131 back. Kyle Kirkwood, 142 back. He's 8th in points. Those are the only other drivers mathematically eligible for the title with 3 races left. Rossi might have had a chance if he didn't get injured. As it is, he's 189 points back. So he would have pretty much had to have won Toronto. He finished 2nd at Toronto. Maybe led a lap. He'd be 148 back. At that point, you would actually need to lead the most laps and finish 2nd. Because even leading a lap and finishing second, he would still need Palou to miss a race. So yeah, yeah. The reason I say this is we think Palou could be able to win. We know Power can win on ovals, so that's big. This could be a crack. I've been saying this all along. The summer is Palou needs to build up his points lead as big as possible before all the ovals, because he's not the favorite on the ovals. So he needs to do as much damage control as possible. If Power can gain 18 points in each of the next 3 races, he will probably be champion. I say probably if he can gain, because who knows? If Herta can also, on top of that, start gaining 5 points a race on Power, while Power's doing that in Palou, Herta will be the champion. But yeah, if Power gains 18 points a race on Palou, Palou will not be the title. And how do you look at that? Well, if Power wins from the pole and leads the most laps, he's getting 54 points. If Palou leads a lap and finishes third each week, he's going to get 36 points, which sounds good, but that's an 18-point gap. Palou could finish third in the last 3 races of the year and still lose his title. And that's what's crazy about the points gap. It's large. It's like a whole race. You could argue it's even more than a whole race. And yet, third for the rest of the year is not necessarily win it. He could easily. Is requiring Power to be on the ball completely. And problem is, Newgarden is his teammate and exists. Yeah, so there's that. Rossi is also there. Now, before I wrap it up a bit, let me go through some of the rest of the points, because we got some crackers of a points battle. Now, Rossi is 189 back, so he's got a 21-point cushion on Santino Ferrucci, and then here we go. Ferrucci 210 back. Rosenqvist is only 9 points behind Ferrucci. Christian Lundgaard is only 4 points behind Rosenqvist. Marcus Armstrong is only 3 points behind Lundgaard. And Marcus Ericsson is only a point behind Marcus Armstrong. That is a cracker of a battle. 17 points separates 5 different drivers, all battling for the last spot in the top 10. That's going to be very exciting to watch over the last 2 weeks. I don't know if Nashville's in 13 days from now. I would imagine it would be. That'd be the first week of the NFL season? Yeah, and then VK is another, he's 244 back, which is like 17 back from Ericsson. Ray Hall's 257 back. Grosjean's 266 back and 17th in points. Linus Lundqvist 18th in points, 268 back. That's 216 points. Then you have to jump back down to Stingray, Rob, and Fittipaldi. There's a 60-point gap, to those guys who are tied for 19th. 156 total points. Just 4 points behind them is Kiston Simpson. That's pretty much your full-time guys. 332 back is what Simpson is. Then it's 360 down to Siegel. 370 to Rasmussen, who will finish ahead of Augustine Canapino this year. He's 375 back. David Maluk is 382 back, which doesn't sound great. But he's only had a few races. Say a few races. He had like half a dozen at least. He's had 102 points, which isn't too bad. He's ahead of Jack Harvey, is what I'm trying to say. Jack Harvey is 26th in points. And he's done all but like 2 races this year. All but maybe 1, actually. He didn't run Indy. It might be randomly like Toronto as well. Yeah, so that is not good for Harvey. He's only 5 points ahead of Teo Pourchaire at this point of the year. And then it's another 40-point drop-off from Pourchaire to Daly. Daly's got about 51 points. Yeah, and that's where Blomqvist, Carpenter, and Sowery are all within are all right there. It's like Blomqvist at 46 still. Can't believe I'm mentioning Tom Blomqvist. Carpenter and Sauer tied at 40. So yeah, a lot of these don't matter. Yeah, I actually did this. That's my handwriting. But yeah, also before I go, 2 other things. First, yeah, I said 2 other things before I meant 3. Leader circle battle. Yes, this video is going on way too long. But I want to talk about the leader circle battle. So we know what it is, top 22. This is top 22 cars, not counting the 4 and the 11 for Ganassi. Because I guess only 3 cars can count. And unfortunately for Ganassi, well, it's not really unfortunate. It's the 4, it's the 11 that's ineligible instead of the 8 would have been better. Because you see Armstrong is up there. He's at 220. There's a gap. Yeah. Anyway. So Malukas in the 66 has put the 66 23 points to the good in the leader circle battle. Ignore the fact that there is a mosquito been crawling on my phone. Can you tell I'm doing this in the wilderness pretty much? Freaking mosquitoes. State bird of Michigan, I swear. Yes, in case you didn't know, I do live in the Great Lakes state, the Wolverine state, which is going to be, I'll get to my attire in a bit. I mean, besides the fact that these are the teams I root for. Yeah, so Malukas is 164 points. He's 23 to the good. And we got the 41 machine of Stingray Rob and the 30 machine of Pietro Fittipaldi. They're 15 points to the good. And then we get to the cutoff driver, which is, well, the cutoff car, I should say, is the 20, which is going to be Carpenter these last 3 races, is 0 points to the good. They're 15 points behind 41 and 30. They're at 141 points, but also at 141 is the 78. So it's going to be Carpenter versus Daly, I think. Unless one of these guys, you know, like Rob really struggles, for example, Fittipaldi. And then I would like to point out Coyne with his driver swapping shenanigans in the 51. He's gotten that car, it's within 8 points. And that's, I would say, a decent bit because of Sauery. Just got 5 points on Daly today. Or yesterday, I should say. Well, that's 133 points as opposed to only 141. And then in case you're wondering where the other Coyne car is, the one that Harvey's been driving most of the year, it's at 107 points. That's 34 behind Daly and Carpenter. Behind the 78. It's 26 points behind his teammate. That's not good. That is not good. I mean, I like Harvey as much as the next guy, but I know it's Coyne's not a great team, but I think it's time for, you know, I guess Harvey to try and move on. He's been in IndyCar, I think, for 10 years? 2016, I think, was his first 500. And it just might be over, Harvey Bros. Now you're wondering, why do I keep talking about, well, anyway, why am I wearing a Brewers hat and a Packers Ray Nitschke jersey and Milwaukee Bucks Crocs? I know nobody was asking that third part, but still. That's because we're going back to Wisconsin. We're going back to Milwaukee. Don't you know? Okay, that was a weird accent. It wasn't quite Midwestern. Oh, don't you know? Yeah. Whoop. I'm just making Midwestern. That's almost sounding more Minnesotan, eh? Gosh, no, I'm sounding Canadian, eh? No, we're not even going to the Great White North. Yeah, so we're going to Milwaukee. That's going to be a really fun weekend. It's going to be probably the funnest weekend we've had all year. Or at least the funnest weekend I've had all year, yes. It's going to be even better experience than the Indy 500. We're going to get 500 laps of IndyCar racing across 2 days. And we're going to get an NXT race. And we might even do an NXT race review of Milwaukee. I think, well, it looks pretty obvious. Louis Foster could come in for a sandwich in both races and still win the title. He's got like 80 points. 80 points on Jacob Abel. 2 races to go. Which means Salary needs to get 14 points each weekend, and that is 16th. He needs to finish 16th in both the last 2 races. And there's only like 20 cars. There's only like 18 to 20, maybe 21 cars in a NXT race. I think Foster's gonna, I think we're gonna see Foster clinch. So yeah. Got another Pac-Man Fever, the new board, new space board going up today. I have actually edited all 3 parts of the space board so I can work on other stuff in the meantime. Maybe I'll get the NR 2003 what was it, the Western Caves wild cards out by Friday. If not, don't worry about it. I'm going to be out by Friday. I didn't have to work today, unfortunately, but it did allow me time to do this video. I gotta do something. I'll have to call work to see if I'm working on Tuesday. If not, I get to call work to see if I'm working on Wednesday. And if not, I'll come back in next Tuesday, because I am not going to work on Thursday or Friday. I am busy. I am taking a trip, and I'm doing something I have not done in my life, and I've been waiting for. Portland, the last race of the pre-live era. That's right. When I said we're going to Milwaukee, I wasn't just talking about the series. But until then, Western Caves, signing off. Oh crap, I gotta figure out where the woods